I'm going to show you how to create animations in Level Director. Okay, first off, what I've done is I've copied the empty project folder and pasted it into a different location. Okay, this just allows us to have a play around without affecting the original project. Then what I did is I copied the bird XML file and the bird sprite sheet file from the Potty Bird example, just so that we can, I can show you how to actually set up the animations for this bird. So to import that asset, I just used the add asset. I added it from the texture packer file because basically it's an XML file. The XML file, it was exported from a texture packer that contains the frames, and I pointed to the actual sprite sheet image. Okay, so we actually set the animations on the assets, not on the individual objects, because the idea is that each object that we instantiate will inherit the asset animations, which is obviously a lot easier, so we don't have to actually specify it per object. So okay, now what I'll do, so clicked on the first frame of the bird, go to the properties window and go to animations and go to collection. Here, this is the animation window, and as you can see, we don't have any animations currently, so let's add a new one. Okay, and let's call this fly fast. Okay, so that's just the name of this particular animation sequence. Okay, we're going to make this the default animation sequence, and then we can decide, do we want to specify a frame count? If the frames are sequential, then we can just say, yeah, there's 3 frames. If they're not sequential, then you can actually specify the frames using a comma delimited list. So we could say 5, 6, 10, for instance. But in this example, they're sequential, so we can just use frame count. If you do specify the frames, then it will ignore frame count. It will use the frames you specified. The loop param, it just tells Corona how many times this animation should loop. Does it loop forever or once, twice, etc. Play, this is actually a level director property, and it just basically tells the utility module, basically the module that kind of loads your level, whether it should actually play this sequence automatically for you. Okay, we'll set that to true for now, and start frame. So as it says, we're going to start from frame 1, and there's the three frames. Time is the time or delay. So this one we're going to fly fast. So let's give it quite a low number, and then let's test it. So now I'm playing, so it's quite fast. As you see, if I give it a bigger number, bigger delay, then it goes slower. But for this example, let's just keep it to 400. Okay, and I can OK that. Now what we can do, just to test that, let's place an object. So I've basically created an instance of that asset onto my canvas or onto my level. I've created a layer 1, so now my bird is now on layer 1. Let's actually give it a proper name, called bird. And now I just save that, and then let's run Corona. Let's see what happens. And there you go. So now it's basically displayed our bird, and now it's animating. We can go one step further than that. So let's go back to the animation. Actually, quickly, before I do that, I'll just show you the main.lua file. So here, this is where it loads the utility module, the helper file basically for Level Director. It starts the physics, creates a variable, to hold our level, and then it loads the level. It's called level 01. Init level is optional in this example because it's only really used for when you using like paths that you need to follow, like what objects follow, but we haven't got any, so that is just optional, so it doesn't matter. I've got a few lines here that I've added just as a test, but we'll leave that for now. So if I go back to animations, and let's create another sequence. So this time we'll call it fly slow. Again, 3 frames. Okay. Play. It doesn't matter in this instance because we're going to actually change it or set it manually. But this time it's going to fly slow. So let's give it a high delay. Just test that. So now it's quite slow. Stop that. So as you see, if I drop down the list, I have 2 animation sequences, fast and now slow. Okay, now I'm going to OK that, and then I'm going to before I rerun it, let's go back to the main Lua file, and I'm going to uncomment this code here. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually creating a variable called bird, and I'm getting the layer object from our level. Okay, so it's on layer 1, it's called bird, and I'm getting the object, the view of that object. And once I have that, I can simply just say bird set sequence, and you just specify the sequence that we've defined in level director. So as the default was fly fast, we could now change it to say fly slow. Once you set the sequence, and yeah, once it's set, you basically just say play. So it's simple as that. So if I go back and now run Corona, as you can see, what it would have done when it loaded the level, it would have set the sequence to fly fast, because that's what we specified as the default sequence. It's just that in our main Lua file that we set it to a different sequence and played it before the next iteration of the frame. So it's kind of as simple as that, really. Okay, thank you.